Hey guys, it's Jake here with Etrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Air Lift portable air compressor. Everything in your kit's going to come in this nice little carrying bag. I like when kits come with a bag because you can keep everything that comes with it inside of it. That way you don't lose track of anything. And whenever you're ready to use it, you can simply pull it all out. This is going to come with a 7-pole adapter so you can run it on the back of your motorhome or the back of your vehicle if that's what you're choosing to use it for. It's going to come with some alligator clips. So those are our two methods of powering this compressor. And then you'll have the compressor itself and the hose will already be pre-attached to it. Since we're showing you a little bit more about this compressor on our travel trailer here, I'm going to take this up to the front. We'll get it hooked up to our battery and then we can continue showing the function of it. Just to kind of give you a good idea on length so you know how it's going to work with your particular rig. The length of our cord coming out of our compressor is going to be 6 feet. What that's going to help with is our air hose is pretty long, so we should be able to reach back pretty far, but this is going to allow us to get the compressor a little bit further back so then we can take the air hose further back. So I'm going to get these hooked up to our battery and then we'll show you the compressor working. Now the air hose itself is going to be an additional 16 feet to get it attached to our wheel. Some of these compressors will have like the traditional push-on style. This one has a twist-on, which I really like because what you can do is then go up to your compressor because it's not next to you at the time. And then you can turn it on and set the air pressure to whatever you need and then air up your tire. And if you ever need to let a little bit of air out, if you go over the number that you're wanting, all you have to do is push this little brass button on the top and it'll let that air out. To add air into our tires, now I let quite a bit out so that you can show how quickly this thing works. We'll turn this button on. The light's going to come on no matter what. So if you find that it's annoying or something like that and you don't really need the light, you can always put a piece of tape or something like that over it. But what we're going to do is you can see here our desired pressure is set to 60, but this larger number is what our tires are actually sitting at, which is 41.1. I'll just lower it just to show you how to adjust it. You can adjust it in half-inch or half PSI increments. So our tires here, we're going to air up to 60 PSI just to show you how quickly it can go about 20 PSI. Once you get the desired pressure, then you just press the power button here in the middle. The air compressor will turn on. And if at any time you need to stop the compressor, you can just hit that power button, but we're just going to keep going until we get to 60. So to move about 20 PSI, it took a little bit over 1 minute to do that. Chances are, if you're using this style of compressor, you're not going to be filling a tire up from empty. Maybe if it's flat, you might be, but what I would recommend is do it in like 20 PSI increments. Filling from 0 to 20 PSI is going to be much faster than filling from 40 to 60 PSI, because as you get that higher pressure, this is going to use a series of check valves to be able to push air in and not allow air to come back out. So the higher and higher you go into that pressure range, it's going to take a little bit longer and be a little bit more difficult for this to be able to push that air through. This compressor does have a capacity of 120 PSI, so a pretty impressive capacity. But I would say at that higher capacity, if your tires on your trailer are rated for 110 PSI, because this is designed to work with motorhomes, that just be patient with it and maybe don't push it too hard. Maybe put 5 PSI in, let it rest for a little bit, do something else. while you're cleaning up or getting ready to go, and then come back and put another 5 or 10 in. Something else you're gonna get with your kit is you'll get a normal, just a needle fitting so that you can air up the sporting equipment and stuff like that. The nice thing about airing up sporting equipment is usually it's a pretty low PSI. And what you can do is just set this to the PSI that the piece of sporting equipment requires, and then just press go, and it'll air it up until it's at that desired PSI, and then pull the needle out. You're also going to get just a normal air fitting if you want to use it to be able to fill up, say, like a pool donut or anything like that. That's just going to require you to blow into it to fill it up. You can use this instead. With that, I would say just set it to, say, 10 PSI so that it doesn't go too high so you don't pop whatever you're trying to fill up. But that way it would just be a constant running stream. You fill it up till it feels tight enough and then turn it off. If you're not wanting to read it in PSI, that's just what we use here at the shop. You can also push the plus and minus at the same time, and you can get your kilograms per square centimeter. You've got bar rating, and you've got your kilopascals. Overall, it's just a really cool little compressor it's a great accessory to have in your vehicle, in your camper, in your RV, whatever you want to use it for. I like that it has the automatic setting. You can just set it. I would use this just to check my PSI. I have a fifth wheel, just to check the PSI in each of my tires. That way, while I'm checking it, if it's a little low, I turn this on, it pops it off to the correct PSI, and then I move to the next tire. It's a cool little tool. You can keep it in any of these cubbies. It comes with the adapters, whether you want to use it with a 7-pole or with a battery like we're using here. The one thing with the 7-pole is I would be cautious that it may end up tripping the fuse on your vehicle. So if it stops running for some reason, that's probably what happened. And definitely if you're using this on a vehicle or on by the 7-pole, so if you've got the battery terminals, the alligator clips hooked up to the vehicle's battery, I would definitely have the vehicle running. If you're going to check all 4 tires, or if you have a dually, all 6 tires, I would definitely have that vehicle running, because otherwise I have a feeling that this is going to draw the battery down pretty quickly if you decide to do all of them on the same battery. Now, when you're using this particular compressor, just like any other compressor out there, because it's using a motor to create the air, you're going to have some heat that will have to go somewhere. So you'll see all these louvers here. That helps to dissipate the heat very quickly because of the housing on here. But do be cautious. You do not want to touch this. After I used it for about a minute, it does get pretty warm. So you want to think about that too. If you put your hand around it and you can feel the heat, I'd turn it off, let it cool off. It should cool off pretty quick, because I can touch it now and it's just barely warm, but it's only been sitting here for about 2 minutes. So just keep that in mind. The less heat that you can keep this or introduce to this, the better. It's going to last longer. So again, just use it in those smaller increments of PSI and you should be fine. Well, guys, hopefully this video helped you decide whether or not the Air Lift portable air compressor is right for you and your application.